Most men are never told this, but what you do with your sexual health after 60 can quietly shape how strong, confident, and alive you feel for the rest of your life. I've sat across from thousands of older men in my clinic who all say, "The same thing, doctor. I wish someone had told me this sooner." Today, I want to be that voice for you, because masturbation in older age isn't about shame, guilt, or habits from the past. It's about circulation, hormones, mental clarity, and maintaining control over your body as you age. And when it's done the right way, it can actually support your prostate, your erections, and even your mood. As men get older, the body changes in ways we don't always notice at first. Testosterone gradually declines, blood flow becomes less efficient, and the nerves that support arousal can become less responsive if they're not regularly stimulated. Many men assume that reducing sexual activity is normal aging, but from a urologist's perspective, inactivity often accelerates decline. Gentle, intentional stimulation helps keep blood vessels flexible, support nerve signaling, and reminds your body that this system is still needed. Think of it the same way you think about walking or light exercise. You don't stop moving just because you're older. You move smarter. One of the biggest mistakes older men make is rushing. When you're younger, your body responds quickly. With age, arousal takes more time, and that's not weakness, that's biology. Slowing down allows proper blood flow to build, reduces strain, and lowers the risk of discomfort afterward. When men rush, they often grip too hard, tense their muscles, or hold their breath without realizing it. Over time, that tension can lead to pelvic floor tightness, groin discomfort, or even weaker erections. Relaxed breathing, lighter touch, and patience make a real difference. Another thing many older men don't realize is that frequency matters more than intensity. You don't need aggressive stimulation to get benefits. In fact, moderate and consistent activity is what supports prostate drainage and helps reduce stagnation in the pelvic region. This can be especially helpful for men who sit for long hours or have limited physical activity. Regular release can also improve sleep quality by calming the nervous system, which is something many seniors struggle with but rarely connect to sexual health. Mental health is another piece that's often overlooked. Masturbation triggers the release of dopamine and oxytocin chemicals that support mood, reduce stress, and combat feelings of loneliness. For older men who may be retired, widowed, or less socially active, this natural mood regulation can be surprisingly powerful. It's not about replacing connection. It's about supporting emotional balance and self-awareness during a stage of life that can feel isolating for many. Hydration, circulation, and overall health play a huge role here. If you're dehydrated, inactive, or managing conditions like diabetes or high blood pressure, your sexual response will be slower and weaker. That's not a failure, it's feedback from your body. Staying active, walking daily, stretching the hips, and managing blood sugar all directly affect how well your body responds. Sexual health doesn't exist in isolation. It's connected to everything else you do. Finally, understand this clearly, there is no age limit on sexual self-care. I've seen men in their 70s and 80s who maintain healthy function simply because they stayed informed and consistent. Masturbation, when approached calmly and respectfully, is not something to give up with age. It's something to adapt. Your body may change, but your ability to care for it does not disappear. The earlier you understand this, the more control you keep over your confidence, comfort, and quality of life. If you take one thing away from this, let it be this: aging does mean shutting down. It means learning how to work with your body instead of against it. When you do that, you don't just preserve function, you preserve dignity, independence, and self-respect. As men age, the body naturally slows down, and that includes sexual response, circulation, and hormone activity, but slowing down does not mean shutting down. One of the biggest misconceptions older men have is believing that reduced desire or weaker erections are unavoidable and permanent. In reality, much of what men experience later in life is strongly influenced by how consistently the body is stimulated and cared for. Sexual health, just like muscle strength or joint mobility, responds to regular use. When the body senses that a function is no longer needed, it gradually reallocates resources elsewhere, leading to further decline. Consistency sends the opposite message. It tells the nervous system, blood vessels, and pelvic muscles that this area still matters. Regular, moderate sexual stimulation helps maintain blood flow to the genital area, which is critical for preserving tissue elasticity and nerve sensitivity. Without this consistent circulation, tissues can become less responsive over time, making arousal more difficult and recovery slower. Many older men mistake this for irreversible aging, when in fact, it is often the result of long periods of inactivity. Consistency does not mean force or intensity. It means maintaining a routine that supports natural function without strain or pressure. Even gentle stimulation can keep the communication between the brain and the body active. There's also a psychological benefit to consistency. Regular sexual self-care reinforces body awareness and confidence, reminding men that desire and pleasure are still part of their identity. This can reduce anxiety around performance and aging, which itself is a major factor in sexual difficulties. When men stop engaging altogether, fear and self-doubt tend to grow, creating a cycle that further weakens response. Consistency breaks that cycle by normalizing the experience and keeping expectations realistic. Over time, this steady approach supports not only sexual function but also emotional balance and self-trust, gentle and patient. Habits become increasingly important as men grow older because the body no longer responds well to rushing, tension, or force. With age, blood vessels are less elastic. Nerve signaling is slightly slower and arousal takes more time to fully develop. When older men try to stimulate themselves the same way they did decades earlier, they often create unnecessary strain without realizing it. Gripping too tightly, moving too fast, or focusing only on the end result can interfere with natural blood flow and increase tension in the pelvic muscles. Over time, this tension can contribute to discomfort, delayed arousal, or erections that feel weaker and less reliable. Patience allows the body to build arousal gradually, which is exactly what aging tissues need. Slower stimulation gives blood vessels time to expand and fill properly, supporting stronger and more comfortable erections. Gentle touch reduces the risk of irritation and helps preserve sensitivity, which is especially important as nerve responsiveness naturally declines with age. When men slow their breathing and stay relaxed, the nervous system shifts into a calmer state that supports sexual function instead of blocking it. This relaxed state also reduces the likelihood of pelvic floor tightness, which is a common but overlooked cause of sexual discomfort in older men. Protecting erection quality is not about doing more. It is about doing things differently. Gentle, patient habits help maintain healthy circulation and prevent microinjuries that can occur when tissues are stressed repeatedly. Over time, this approach supports long-term function rather than short-term stimulation. It also builds better body awareness, allowing men to recognize early signs of fatigue or strain and adjust accordingly. By respecting the body's changing needs, men can preserve erectile response, reduce anxiety around performance, and maintain a sense of control over their sexual health. As they age, sexual self-care plays a meaningful role in emotional health and overall longevity, especially for men as they age. Many older men focus only on physical outcomes like erections or performance, but the emotional and neurological benefits are just as important. Sexual activity triggers the release of chemicals in the brain that support mood regulation, stress reduction, and a sense of well-being. Dopamine contributes to motivation and pleasure, while oxytocin promotes calmness and emotional stability. For men who may be dealing with retirement, reduced social interaction, or loss of a partner, the natural chemical responses can help counter feelings of loneliness, anxiety, or low mood. Maintaining sexual self-care also reinforces a positive relationship with one's body. As men age, it is common to feel disconnected from physical sensations, or to view the body as something that is slowly failing. Regular self-awareness through sexual health routines helps rebuild that connection, reminding men that pleasure, comfort, and control are still accessible. This sense of connection can increase self-esteem and reduce the mental stress that often accompanies aging. When stress levels remain high for long periods, they negatively affect hormones, sleep quality, and immune function, all of which influence longevity. There is also a strong link between emotional balance and physical health. Chronic stress and suppressed emotions place strain on the cardiovascular system and nervous system, accelerating age-related decline. Sexual self-care supports relaxation and helps reset the nervous system, especially when practiced in a calm and mindful way. This relaxation response can improve sleep patterns, reduce muscle tension, and support healthier blood pressure levels. Over time, these benefits accumulate, contributing to better energy levels and resilience. When men understand that sexual self-care is not indulgence but maintenance, it becomes easier to prioritize it as part of a balanced approach to aging and long-term well-being.